So, back again. Just literally just came back from the shop, and the people out there have given me great inspiration to talk on the subject matter, as it be, because I'm not going to be ignorant in this instance. And I can say that is political without wanting to be political. I can say that is unhealthy uh, without, any consent or healthiness with. So it's all forced, right? So when some people believe that even ads, like if you go and put up a ad for, they had ads for cigarettes, right? So that's a good example of how people decided to. Some people still smoke. If you want to go and smoke cigarettes, you can go and buy cigarettes, but they're no longer advertised. If you want to have cognitive behavioral therapy, I'm sure you can go and find someone that will administer it for you. But this stuff is just becoming, whatever you want to call it, even if it's mind control, propaganda, it's all got to do with lack of upfront and honest communication at the end of the day. It's like when someone wants you to do something, but they're not going to come out and ask you nicely to do it or offer you a contract and pay you to do it. They want you to do it for free as a mind control slave. And that is ill behavior and personality disorders that have long been spoken about and dissected and all of that for 100 years. Not for like 20 years or something like that. All the better stuff that I get into. I mean, just a couple of things that I noticed is the likes of war on relationships, where the bad relationships are being promoted over good relationships. And we can see that as there's less and less healthy families. And I think by now, especially in the West, as they say, is an absolute rarity, is as rare as the rarest thing to find a couple that has had children that stayed together for at least like 30, 40 years or something like that. And we're talking like from today going back 30, 40 years. They're almost inexistent. So, and they're not even considering these people trying to do the unconsensual and covert mind control, whatever you want to call it, cognitive behavioral therapy. The likes in the UK, the nudge department. There is a thing. There's a thing. I was surprised Richard Grannon didn't know about it. Lawrence, I forgot his other name. The gentleman that was doing the other podcast, they've done a podcast together. Lawrence Friedman, I believe, and Richard Grannon done a podcast together. Well, Lawrence Friedman explained about the nudge department is literally a governmental department that performs mind control. That's what they do, or cognitive behavioral therapy. At least the only thing I would see it to be legal is to send you an email, give you a letter. Hey, we've assessed certain activity on the internet, whatever it is, even if it's a bullshit excuse. Create some form of tacit agreement and then go about it. No, they go about it without even sending you a letter. Now, that can't possibly be legal. Yeah, that can't possibly be healthy. Anyways, so this is what happens. This is what happens. So obviously, you have to have some absolutely ill-treated, and much respect to Richard Grannon for his latest work. He's put out a short on Facebook and YouTube. Absolutely great. That explains how even though yes, it's only about 5%, because I reckon is no longer the case for, because it says 1 to 5%. I reckon it's more towards the 5% of people in society. So 5 in 100, specifically, and that's what he was explaining. Specifically, as you go further up the pyramid scheme, because it's a scheme, it's not a merit-based thing. Is a winner takes it all type of thing, right? Over dead bodies. And they are more and more malignantly narcissistic and cluster B personality traded and disordered as you move up the chain of command. So this is why they first of all, do things like the nudge department without knowledge, will, and consent. Forced cognitive behavioral therapy and the likes, and promote bad relationships over good relationships, bad faith over good faith, lack of trust and distrust, and so on and so forth, over trust and over building your own defenses and having some level of vulnerability and friendliness and so on. They don't want that. They don't promote that. They promote being rather covert and offensive and mistrusting and with bad faith. And then war on transport and traveling, where anything that is genuinely reliable, that is economically viable, that is good for the country and the people, and ultimately even for businesses and so on and so forth. That is not a scheme. That is not to make a quick buck and then to rob us all eventually. They do not like that. So bad transport and bad means of travel is ultimately as well is the way to die. And then when it comes to health and fitness and so on and so forth, they will go out of their way to try to promote anything that puts you on the hamster wheel. So literally on the hamster wheel. How much time and energy can they get you to waste in vain? In vain. How much pain with no gain can they get you to experience? Because they get a lot of what do you call it? The dopamine hit from narcissistic supply. And I'm willing to bet that I'm creating narcissistic injury, and the malignant narcissists that, if they watch this, in terms of calling them out on their absolute nonsense and lunacy. So that's how they've replaced decency, respect, and what is it? The other one that Dr. Carter uses, integrity. Yeah, so they've replaced decency, respect, and integrity, and just the basic rights laws and the normal legislation that once used to be with anything and everything that produces narcissistic supply. And that's the bottom line, really, because that's the only way that the bad relationships, bad transport, and waste of time when it comes to health and fitness is being promoted over genuine, viable solutions and genuine communication, and where all the covert, dishonest, bad faith, and all of that sort of stuff comes from. So I'll end it there, and much good faith and spirits for the people that need it and should have it in the face of these malignant narcissistic tyrants that seem to be unreachable and unstoppable.